Hello everyone. So today we are going to speak about Relativsatz. So imagine you're standing in a huge park and there are 20 people walking around you. Now your friend asks you a simple question. Who is Rahul? And you answer her by saying, "Oh, okay, this is Rahul." But you can't simply say that because there are 20 people around you. So maybe you say Rahul is wearing a blue shirt. But what if there are three people who are wearing blue shirts? Then you may say Rahul is wearing blue shirt and talking on the phone. Still there are two people who are doing the exact same. So you continue. Rahul is wearing a blue shirt, talking on the phone and standing near the fountain. Now I exactly know which Rahul I'm telling my friend about. So this is exactly why relative clauses exist. The job is pretty simple. They help us identify a specific person or things among many similar ones. And without relative clauses, we would have to keep speaking in short sentences. So imagine me saying, I met a man. The man lives in Berlin. The man is a doctor. The man speaks German. This sounds repetitive. Instead, German combines everything into one sentence. Ich habe einen Mann getroffen, der in Berlin wohnt, Arzt ist und Deutsch spricht. And that's exactly what we are going to learn today. So, a relative Satz or a relative clause gives extra information about a noun. It helps us describe a person, thing, place, animal, or object, or even an idea. So, it answers questions like which person, which thing, which place, and it makes sentences sound more natural and avoids repeating the same noun. Zum Beispiel: Der Mann, der dort steht, ist mein Lehrer. The man who is standing there is my teacher. Which teacher are we talking about? The man who is standing there is my teacher. Which man? The man who is standing there. Das Buch, das ich gekauft habe, ist interessant. The book that I bought is interesting. Which book? The book that I bought. Das Buch, das ich gekauft habe. Which book is interesting? Das Buch, das ich gekauft habe, ist interessant. So the relative clause comes immediately after the noun it describes. What is relative Satz? A relative Satz or relative clause always describes a noun. So the example I've given over here is Ich habe einen Hund. You want to describe more about the dog. So you may say Ich habe einen Hund. Der Hund is groß. But instead of using these two sentences separately, you can club them into one sentence, which is Ich habe einen Hund, der groß ist. I have a dog which is big. So the formula to formulate relative Satz is you have to have a main clause, attach a comma after it, then comes your relative pronoun, some rest keywords or words or adjuncts, and the verb comes towards the end. So from other example, I wanted to tell you how to distinguish between the main clause and relative clause. Over here, ich kenne den Mann uh, is the main clause. This is the required sentence without which the sentence wouldn't be complete. Ich kenne den Mann, this is your main clause. Der in Berlin wohnt is the relative clause. Now, this is something which can be omitted as well, but it gives extra information about den man. So, ich kenne den Mann. I know that man. Which man? Um, who lives in Berlin. Der in Berlin wohnt. Now, let's understand more about relative pronouns. They look exactly like definite articles, so sometimes one might get confused whether to use der, die, das, dessen, or what. But they change according to the case. So for this, you need to remember two things. One is the gender, and the second is the case. The gender comes from the noun, and the case depends on noun's function inside the relative clause. So, as of now, you just only have to remember that the gender comes from the noun, and case is something which depends on noun's function inside the relative clause. So, we will go with the easier one, which is nominative. Nominative, in this we have masculine der, feminine die, neuter das, and plural die. It is used when the noun is the subject of the relative clause. So the example given over here is der Mann, der hier wohnt. Which man are we talking about? Der Mann who lived here. Der hier wohnt. Die Frau, die singt. Which Frau? The Frau that sings. Die singt. Das Kind, das spielt. Which kid? Das Kind, das spielt. The kid who plays. Die Leute, die lachen. Which Leute? Die Leute, die lachen. Now, accusative. In accusative, only the masculine part is changing. Uh, the masculine for nominative was there, but in accusative it is becoming then. The rest of the part is the same. So, masculine is then, feminine is die, neuter is das, plural is die. Now, when is accusative used? Accusative is used when the noun is the direct object. So, for example, der Mann, den ich kenne. Which man? Der Mann, den ich kenne. Die Frau, die ich sehe. Das Auto, das ich gekauft habe. Die Kinder, die wir besuchen. Now about dative. In dative, the masculine is becoming them. Feminine is becoming their. Neuter is becoming them. And plural is becoming denen. So when is it used? It is used when the noun is the indirect object and the relative pronouns comes after the dative verbs and after dative prepositions. So der Mann, dem ich helfe. Die Frau, der ich danke. Das Kind, dem ich ein Buch gebe. Die Studentin, denen ich vertraue. Now, about genitive, it usually comes for B1, B2, but we'll discuss about this briefly. So, in masculine, it is dessen, in feminine, it is deren, in neuter, it is dessen, and in plural, it is deren. So, if you just follow it through, you would understand that masculine and neuter has dessen and feminine and plural has deren. The meaning of this is whose. So, der Mann, dessen Auto neuer ist. The man whose auto or whose car new is. Die Frau, deren Hund schwarz ist. Das Kind, dessen Mutter Ärztin ist. Die Studentin, deren Lehrer nett ist. So, how would you choose the correct relative pronoun? So, step one, you need to find the noun. Ich kenne den Mann. Over here, den Mann. Man is the noun. About whom we want to describe or whom we want to give extra additional information about. So, man is the noun and its gender is masculine. Step 2, we need to find its function inside the relative clause. So, ich sehe den Mann. Over here, den Mann is the direct object. So, it becomes accusative in case. Because ich is nominative and ich is looking at den Mann. Den Mann over here becomes the direct object which is being looked at. So then man is the direct object and therefore accusative. Now for step 3, you need to choose the correct pronoun. Masculine plus accusative which becomes then. If we go through the table, so ich kenne den Mann, then ich sehe. Now the rule is the infinite conjugated verbs always comes at the end of the relative clause. So uh, the left side box is right and the right side box is wrong, which means der Mann, der hier arbeitet. Arbeitet is something which is coming at the end. But if you see the orange color box, der Mann, der arbeitet here. This is wrong because the verb is not coming towards the end. Now the comma rule, a relative clause is always enclosed by a comma. Der Mann, der dort steht, ist mein Lehrer. So after the main clause, you have to attach a comma. After der Mann, you need to attach a comma to formulate the relative clause. Der dort steht. Ich kenne die Frau, die Deutsch spricht. Relative clauses with prepositions. The prepositions comes before the relative pronoun. So for example, das ist der Freund, mit dem ich spreche. Die Frau, für die ich arbeite. Das Hotel, in dem wir wohnen. Der Tisch, auf dem das Buch liegt. And towards the end, we will be talking about relative clause with was. So it is used after alles, etwas, nicht, vieles, manches. Alles, was ich weiß. Etwas, was ich kaufen möchte. Nicht, was wichtig ist. And thank you for watching.